we'll do the official starting. So just grateful to be here again, gathering to look at ways to live with a little bit more calm and ease in our life in this crazy world that we live in. You know, choose whatever it is that's stressing you out right now. You know, notice whatever it is. There's probably some reason you're here, and it might be because you're feeling stressed out about something, or just because you want to find a way to find a little bit more ease, or just to get to know yourself better, just to get to know the habits of your mind and the things that cause it to be disturbed, and then we investigate things that might possibly help it to relax a little bit. And so that's our investigation here together. And each week, Nancy and I share some different ways of looking at it, some different ideas that we've heard from various people or trainings that we've received. And we share them for you to play with and see what works for you. And if something doesn't work today, maybe it'll work in a week, or maybe 10 years from now, you'll remember it. So we're here to explore this with just curiosity and kindness and compassion, you know, all of these things, remembering that we're here is to do this not as something we have to do, but as a gift to ourselves to take this time to do this investigation of how to understand ourselves better and see what might lead to a little more ease. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm assuming that's why you're all here. And if not, for whatever reason you're here, I'm glad that you're here. So let's begin, as we usually do, with what we call a grounding meditation to fully arrive, letting go of some of the talking and the introduction and the clicking and the screens and everything, and turning inwards to begin this investigation. So I'll ring the bell to start. So the bell is our invitation to let go of this process of arriving, and our chance to begin getting settled in the body and the mind, just allowing ourselves to come more inwards. So feeling the body resting on whatever support it's on, a chair, a couch, a bed, the floor. So feeling the support of that, knowing you don't have to work that hard to support the body. There's this support to do that for you. And just receiving that, letting the body rest into that. And feeling the groundedness, the strength of that support, and from that, inviting a little bit of uprightness of the spine in whatever way feels appropriate to to invite some alertness to the mind, but also relaxation. So grounding in the support, resting in that, inviting alertness, but also relaxation, and closing the eyes if you're comfortable. Or if you don't want to close them, just have a soft gaze, just not be looking around. And if you haven't done so already, maybe you're checking in to see, how is it right here, right now? This mind, this body right here. How is it? What's the mood? The overall feeling right here, right now? Is it calm, or is it agitated, restless? Is there ease, relaxation, or is there some kind of tension or stress? Maybe it's both. Maybe there's some places feel agitated and there is calm someplace. Can we just check in and get the overall sense of how it is right now? Not judging it as good or bad, but just noticing it's like this. Just really feeling it rather than trying to describe it to yourself, just feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, how is it? And so what we're doing is we're tuning into the sensations in the body, because that can give us a clue of how we're doing, right? And so often we're lost in thought, and you may be lost in thought right now. But try tuning back into the body to see, how is it? Because the body is right here, right now. It's not thinking about what you're going to do after this class or what you were doing 2 hours ago, the current frustration you have. That's all thoughts in the mind, but what's actually happening is this body right here, right now. So how is it? So can you notice the sensations in the body, maybe the pressure against the support, maybe the hands resting in your lap, feet on the floor. Maybe you feel the beat of your heart, or the rhythm of your breath, the body breathing, receiving energy, letting go. What do you notice in this body right here, right now? And not judging if it's good or bad, but just noticing the sensations that you feel right here. And if there's a narration about it, judging it as good or bad, you can notice that too and see if that creates tension or if that's helpful. And for me, it creates tension, but how is it for you if there's a narrator or if thoughts come in? Just noticing. So what sensations are you noticing in the body right now? And how is the mind? What's the overall sense? And maybe you can tune into a specific place in the body, noticing the rhythm of the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. We can notice if that brings more ease. Or if there's some difficulty in breathing, maybe that causes tension. So we just notice, how is it paying attention to this sensation in the body has this effect. And if the mind gets lost in thought, can you notice when that happens and what's the effect on how the mind and body feel? And again, we're not judging any of this, we're just noticing cause and effect. When I'm present with the body, with the breath, feeling the body resting on its support, it feels like this. Maybe receiving sounds, we can notice if sounds feel pleasant or unpleasant. So just keep practicing this way, trying to notice whatever we notice in the sensations right here, right now, in this body, this breath, this heartbeat, these sounds. You can pay attention to one or watch them come and go and just notice what the effect is on the mind and the body when we do this. And if thoughts come in, we can notice the effect of those. So how is it right here, right now, with this mind, this body? What's the mind paying attention to? How does that affect the mood of the mind? A sense of ease or tension. And so this is our basic practice. We can just notice this moment to moment. And this way we get to know ourselves better, see what leads to ease, see what causes tension in each moment. This is our practice. So the bell invites us to bring our awareness back to the surface and just noticing what you may have noticed during that meditation. Maybe if you noticed a pattern of your thoughts or sensations in the body. And again, not judging it, just whatever you may have learned, and then letting that go and coming back to being aware of being here. So first I have to acknowledge, so my camera fell off the screen during that meditation, so my apologies. And you can notice what your mind did with that while that was all going on, right? Did you stay present in your body, or were you wondering what was going on? And, you know, there was things happening here, and were you watching those, or were you able to stay with what was happening? I had my own thought process going on during that. So we can all just sort of laugh about, like, this is life, right? This is what happens. This is technology, and let it go. So my apologies for that. So here we are. So that grounding meditation leads into what I really wanted to talk about today, which is a technique that was highlighted in a Hidden Brain episode that I heard this past week. And Hidden Brain is on National Public Radio. I don't know if any of you follow that, but they investigate the mind and, you know, how we relate to experience, how we relate to each other. It's really a lovely program. And this week, the title of it was Changing Our Mental Maps. Changing Our Mental Maps. And they were interviewing a researcher, Norman Farb, F-A-R-B, who wrote a book called Better in Every Sense. So it's Norman Farb, Better in Every Sense. And the premise of this is that the way our brain works is we follow habit patterns of thought, right? And some of it, yeah, the more we meditate, the more we see this, you know, we repeat, oh, like, oh, don't tell me I'm doing that again. You know, I'm worrying about this again. Or, you know, we see one thing and then immediately we go down a whole story about it because that's the way we relate to whatever this tiny little thing is. And so the mind does this, the brain does this as a way to conserve energy. It wants to simplify things and go down the old path because then it doesn't have to work so hard. But as those of us who have some relatively annoying thought patterns, if we know whether it's anxiety or depression or over planning or overthinking, whatever our habitual thought patterns are that send us into like these downward spirals of anxiety or of just negativity, we can really, the mind just really goes there, and it goes into what's called the default mode network of the brain. And it just, these are repeated patterns, and it gets really stuck there. So sorry to go geek on you, but it's nice to know that there's an explanation. Like, there's nothing wrong with me, right? It's just what the brain does. There's absolutely nothing wrong with me or you or any of us. This is just how the brain operates. And so we can like relax a little bit knowing that, like, this is not a personal defect. I'm not neurotic, or I'm not depressive or whatever. These are habits of the mind. And so what they were saying is that what happens when we get into that thought pattern, what happens is that the mind tunes into those thoughts and loses touch with all the sensory perception, which is the present moment, right? All the senses, what's coming in here right now. all the senses is what's actually happening. But meanwhile, we're lost in the past or the future with these thought patterns, and we're adding stories that usually are not helpful, like when we get stuck in those cycles. And so their suggestion was, if you're see yourself starting to go into these patterns of negativity, or cycling down, or just getting caught, start paying closer attention to sensations, hearing sounds, noticing things in your environment, sensory experiences, feeling how your body feels, feel the air moving over your skin, feel the grounding of even if your head's flying around, your feet are still grounded, So guess what? This is what we talk about here all the time. So it really helps me once again reconfirm what I've learned from my teachers. And these are techniques that have been taught for thousands of years. But now science is explaining why it works, because it brings us back into the present moment, and it also breaks the pattern. It cuts the story, those old patterns, and we can start to create new patterns. And that's where, when they're talking about changing your mental maps, that's what it is. So the more we can catch that pattern, give it the pause, and we talk about that all the time, just noticing when the mind does it, don't judge it and go down another thought pattern, but just acknowledge it, and then come back to the sensation in the body, bring us back to the present moment, reground and get recentered and balanced. And then, if we're in the real world, then okay, now what? I'm really present here. What's the real story about what's going on here, rather than the story I'm making up about it and the negativity I'm bringing to it, or the patterns that I'm bringing to it. So when we do this, when we're in this present moment, they also find that people just feel better overall. And that's why the name of that book, better in every sense, right? The more we tune into our immediate sensations, and doesn't mean we get lost in la la land, right? We just know, like, okay, a loud sound is this. The sound of my the sound of my video camera crashing is like this. So we notice it, and then can we come back in and just go, okay, how does that feel? Oh, it feels panicky. Okay, so do we have to get lost in the story, or can we just go, and what else is happening? What other senses? There's sounds, there's sights, there's feelings in the body, there's the breath. We can always come back to those anchors. So for me, it was really helpful, and that's why I'm sharing this. If you're interested, you can check out that episode of Hidden Brain called Changing Our Mental Maps, and you could just Google it, and I'm sure the podcast will come up if you're interested. And if not, we can just try it in the next meditation, is what I would propose. So we'll play some more with this. We set an intention during meditation. We're going to pay attention to this, and then you stay with it for a while, and then the thinking mind has other ideas, and it goes off and starts doing something. And then we can notice, where does it go? What's the effect? Is it a positive or negative effect on the mind and on the body? And then reground back, train it. No, we're doing this. We're doing this now. We're not going to go off on that side tangent. We're not going to go down that trail, that old map road. We're going to go here. And so in this way, we're training our mind to do a little bit more of what we want to, rather than its old habits. And we notice what's beneficial, we notice what's harmful, and then naturally our wisdom will incline us towards the things that are more beneficial. That's been my experience. Those are what the researchers say. This is what the ancient teachers tell us. But then the question is, what's your experience? So that's what we're going to check out now in this next meditation. So here's the invitation to come back inwards again, and doing what we did before, retaking our meditation seat. So you want to ground in the support of whatever it is your body is resting on, the floor, the chair, the couch, the bed, whatever. Resting in that, coming back inward, closing the eyes if you're comfortable, or just having a soft gaze. And letting go of all the words. So the bell is going to be our invitation to come back into looking inwards, to do our own investigation. So with the fading of the sound of the bell, taking your attention away from all the talk before, the ideas, any thoughts you may have about them. Taking away from the sound of the bell and coming inwards and just checking in again. How is it right here, right now? How is it? And probably there's some judging about whether it's good or bad or whatever, but just noticing the overall sense of it. Does it feel calm and ease, or is there some agitation or tension? Or somewhere in between? And again, we don't decide if it's good or bad, we just notice it's like this. We don't have to make up a story about it, it's just like this. In this mind, this body right here, right now, it's like this. And we don't have to do anything, we don't have to be anything, we can just invite curiosity, what's happening right here, moment to moment, in this mind, in this body, to see what leads to ease, what causes tension, as a way to get to know ourselves. And so we can set the intention, as we did in that first meditation, to be present with this bodily experience right here, right now. And maybe that first meditation, maybe there was a particular object in awareness, some kind of sensation that your mind could really be comfortable with. Maybe it's the sensation of the body breathing, receiving the breath on the inhalation, letting go, releasing on the exhalation. Or maybe it's tuning into sounds around you. Or maybe it's tuning into that feeling of your hands resting, just feeling that solidity of connectedness to whatever you're resting on. So where can the mind rest? So setting an intention to let the mind rest on a particular sensation in the body, feeling the breath, the pressure, maybe the heartbeat, maybe the sounds around you. So setting the intention to be interested in what's happening right here, right now in this body, the mind being aware of it. Or maybe you notice just changing sensations. First a breath, then a heartbeat, then a sound. So choose what and how you're going to pay attention. And just continue paying attention to that. And then notice what happens with curiosity, kindness. What's happening now in this body and mind? And we can check in and notice if the mind is still paying attention to sensations in the body, or if it's wandered off in some thoughts, or maybe gone to sleep out of boredom. We can notice that too. And just noticing what the effect is. If we're present in the body, or if we're lost in thought, or if we're feeling drowsy, just notice how that feels in the mind and the body. Notice if it feels helpful or not so helpful. And then reset the attention to pay close attention what's happening right here, right now in this body. So staying with our meditation object, the breath, body sensations, sounds, whatever our object is, stay with it, these direct sensations, moment to moment. And notice what happens. What is the mind paying attention to right now? What's the effect on the mind and the body of whatever it is you're paying attention to? Just noticing, not judging good or bad, just noticing. And then reset the intention to be present with sensory experience in the body, whether it's sounds, pressure, resting, heartbeat, breath, whatever. Moment to moment, staying with that sensation, noticing the effect, and noticing the effect if the mind has other ideas. We can notice if the mind's still paying attention to sensations. Maybe it's getting bored. Maybe this isn't interesting enough. So if the mind is getting bored for some reason, maybe try paying closer attention. If you're observing the breath, like really notice the breathing in and then the pause after the inhalation. And then when the breath starts again for the exhalation, noticing specifically where you feel it in the body. Or if you're noticing the heartbeat, just notice the quality of it. And again, not obsessing about it, but just noticing, is it calm, is it rested, or is there agitation? Or if you're hearing sounds, listening deeply. Maybe there's subtle sounds that you're not hearing. So see if that keeps you more interested and present with what's happening right here, right now. And not trying too hard, of course. Noticing if we stress ourselves out from not doing it right, just noticing that too. So with kindness, what's happening right here, right now, in this body, in this mind. Noticing what the mind's paying attention to. What's the mood of the mind? How does the mind and body feel? And then resetting the intention to be present with the sensations, the sounds, this present moment experience. Noticing what happened, what's the difference between that and being lost in the past or future? How is it right here, right now? Can this be okay? This, and then this, and then this. What is the mind paying attention to? Is it with the present moment experience? Or is it caught in a thought pattern? Or maybe caught in drowsiness? Whatever if it's stuck, or if it's present with the present moment, we can just notice what the mood is, how it feels in the mind and body. And then reset the intention to be present with this experience right here, right now, in the body. Sensations, ever-changing sensations in this body. You would be interested in that. How does that feel? What is the mind paying attention to? What's the mood in the mind, the overall feeling of the body? Just noticing, not judging, and then resetting the attention back to our meditation object. Can we be interested in the sensations in this body right here, right now? And now I might suggest that for these last few minutes here, bringing the awareness to the breath and consciously maybe breathing in just a little bit deeper if you can, and then a longer exhale. And then breathe in and then have a long exhale. Breathe in and a long exhale. And then just check in again. How is it right here, right now? This mind, this body. The body's still breathing on its own. The mind is aware of what's happening right here, right now. It's like this right now. Whatever's happening, can this be okay in this moment? It's just this. So the bell invites us to bring the awareness back to the surface again. Maybe just reflecting on what happened. Meditation was just fairly long, so maybe you had a range of things happening. What happened during that? Anything you might have noticed, frustrating or beneficial that you might have learned. And then letting it go and coming back to being aware of being here together. So again, these were some ways of exploring by, maybe you don't need to do a 15, 20-minute meditation to do this exploration, to come into the body. But even throughout your day, just if you feel yourself starting to get into a story, where you can feel yourself being pulled down into, oh no, here it goes again, or oh, what's this, your old thought patterns, and it just doesn't feel beneficial, we can try just dropping into the body, even for those 3 breaths that we did at the very end, just coming in and noticing consciously the body breathing. The longer exhale actually helps to calm the body down a little bit. So these ways of connecting with the body get us out of what can be unhelpful thought patterns. Once we notice those happening, we can then redirect the attention into the direct sensation of being here right now. So you noticed whatever you noticed during this period. It may or may not have felt beneficial, but I encourage you to just play with it a little bit and see, even in everyday life, if just that simple coming back to what's happening right here, right now. If you're frustrated, look out the window and look at the leaves on the trees or the birds or something, and or listen to sounds. Whatever it takes to kind of break the old pattern and then come back anew to see if you have a new way of looking at whatever you were experiencing. So I just offer that for hopefully something was beneficial, and I'm just grateful again that you were here with us today.